The first time I saw myself, I didn't realize it was me. Not immediately. That detail matters more than anything else in this story. Because recognition is supposed to be instant, a reflex, a certainty. But what I saw that morning at the train station arrived like a delayed thought, as though my mind needed time to accept what my eyes had already understood. I was standing under platform 3, waiting for the 7:40 express into the city. Same as every weekday. Same coffee in my hand. Same habit of checking my watch twice for no reason other than anxiety pretending to be disciplined. The train arrived exactly on time. Doors opened. People stepped out. People stepped in. And then I saw him. Or I should say, I saw me. Boarding the train from the opposite platform, not looking at me, not hesitating. Just moving with the same rhythm I always used when I thought no one was watching. Shoulders slightly hunched. Left hand adjusting the strap of a worn leather bag. Right foot stepping onto the carriage just before the doors closed. And then he was gone. The train pulled away, and I stood there thinking, that man walks like I do. That thought was my first mistake, because it implied distance, observation, separation, as though I was watching something external, something harmless, something explainable. The next day, I checked earlier. Different platform, different angle. I told myself I was curious, not frightened. Curiosity is what adults call it when they are not ready to admit concern. 7:38 AM. Same crowd, same noise, same mechanical rhythm of lives repeating themselves. And then, again, me. Same coat, same posture, same hesitation before stepping forward. Only this time, he paused, just for a fraction of a second, and turned his head slightly. Not enough to face me, but enough that I felt it. Not eye contact, recognition. Like something in him had noticed something in me noticing him. Then he boarded, gone again. No one around me reacted. No one ever does when reality behaves incorrectly. That is something I am only now beginning to understand. By the third day, I stopped sleeping properly, not because of fear, because of anticipation. There is a difference. Fear warns you away. Anticipation pulls you closer. I began arriving earlier, watching longer, studying him, my movements, my habits, the way I adjusted my sleeve before checking my phone, the way I exhaled just before stepping forward. Every detail matched, too precisely to be coincidence, too naturally to be imitation, and yet there were differences, small ones, subtle enough that I convinced myself I was imagining them. He smiled once. I don't remember ever smiling on that platform. At least not like that. Not without reason. On the fourth morning, I followed him. I boarded the train. Same carriage, same time. I told myself I was testing reality. But really, I was trying to prove I still belonged inside it. He sat 3 rows ahead, facing forward. As I moved closer, I realized something that made my stomach tighten in a way I cannot fully explain. He didn't look back, not once, as if he already knew I was there, as if I had already arrived. The train moved through tunnels, light flickered across his face, and for brief moments, I could see my life reflected in him like a delayed broadcast. Same watch, same posture, same tired blinking, but also something smoother, something more certain, as though he had already completed the version of me that still doubted itself. That night, I began noticing inconsistencies. My apartment felt rearranged, not dramatically, just wrong in ways I couldn't document. A mug placed on the opposite side of the sink, keys hanging where I never leave them, a book open to a page I don't remember reading. At first I blamed exhaustion, then stress, then memory. Memory is a convenient scapegoat. It never defends itself. But the strangest moment came when I checked my phone. Photos I didn't remember taking. Messages I didn't remember sending. Appointments I did not schedule. A calendar full of obligations that felt authored, not lived, as if someone had been quietly continuing my life while I was busy doubting it. On the 5th day, I stopped asking whether I was being replaced and started asking something worse. Am I the one who is wrong? Because if someone else is living my life, then what am I living? I returned to the station earlier than usual, before sunrise. The platform was nearly empty, only maintenance workers and the distant hum of electricity. And then I saw him again. Me, already there, waiting. Not boarding this time, just standing on the opposite platform, watching me, or maybe waiting for me to arrive. He raised his hand slightly, a gesture I recognized. Not greeting, not warning, invitation. For the first time, I looked directly at him, really looked, and I noticed something I had avoided noticing before. His expression wasn't imitation. It wasn't copying. It was completion, as if I were the earlier draft, and he was the finished version. The thought should have frightened me. Instead, it felt familiar, like remembering something I had always known but refused to say aloud. The train arrived, doors opened, and he stepped forward, not hurried, not uncertain, completely certain. As he passed through the doorway, he looked at me, finally, directly, and in that instant, I understood something I still struggle to articulate. He was not replacing me. He was continuing me, and I was still catching up. After that morning, things began to blur. People at work greeted me by different names. My manager asked about a project I don't remember being assigned. A friend mentioned a conversation I cannot recall having. At first I corrected them, then I stopped. Because every correction made the same thing happen. A pause. A hesitation. A look that suggested I was mistaken, not them. Me. And slowly, the possibility became unbearable. What if the version of me I trusted most was simply the one lagging behind? The final morning I went to the station, I didn't intend to follow him, or confront him, or understand anything. I only wanted clarity. But clarity is not what arrived. He was already there, waiting. Same posture, same calmness. But this time, he stepped forward first, crossing the platform gap, walking toward me without hesitation. And I realized something that collapsed every remaining assumption I had about distance, identity, and sequence. He wasn't coming from the train anymore. He was coming for me. Or perhaps, he already had me, and I was simply late to accept it. He stopped in front of me, close enough that I could see the smallest differences now. Not flaws, not errors, just refinement, like a photograph developed twice. Then he spoke, quietly, calmly, as if continuing a sentence I had started long ago. "You're almost ready." I tried to respond. My voice felt unfamiliar, like it belonged to someone borrowing my throat. I asked the only question left that still felt real. Which one of us is the original? He smiled, not kindly, not cruelly, just correctly, as if the question itself was outdated. And he answered, "That depends on when you stopped paying attention." The train arrived behind him, doors opened, and for a moment, I couldn't remember whether I had already boarded, or whether I was still standing on the platform watching myself hesitate. Because somewhere between the motion of arriving and leaving, I saw it. Another version of me, already inside, looking back, waiting patiently for the version still unsure of which direction his life was moving. And when I stepped forward, I can no longer say whether I was entering the train or finally catching up to the life I had already begun living without realizing it. All I know now is this: every morning, someone boards the train wearing my face, and I am no longer entirely certain whether I am the one watching or the one being watched from the other side of the glass.